I did terrible. Like I did terrible when I started. Now I've learned it. If you're gonna do anything, if you're not ready to like I guess die for it, if you're not ready to give something your all, I don't think you should do it. It was honestly a hobby until I got my first paycheck from YouTube. Wait, like no way this is real.
You don't plan on stopping for another 20 years, do you? Like how long when you envision
Oh no,
YouTube?
I'm never stopping.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
no, no, there's no end.
If you could go back and give 8-year-old Jenny one piece of advice, or any kid who's in your shoes, what would it be? What does it actually take to make viral YouTube Shorts videos? Well, today I spoke to Jenny Hoyos, a creator who's been making videos since she was 8 years old and has over 8 million subscribers. We talked about her first viral video, how she hired her parents to help her with YouTube, and how she one day aspires to become a competitive athlete. If you're serious about content creation and understanding what it's like to scale a YouTube business, this is not a conversation you want to miss out on. My name is Chum, and without further ado, let's talk to Jenny. Jenny Hoyos, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Super excited for this podcast.
Of course. If I want to start off with a question about your career thus far. You've been on YouTube for about 10 years at this point. If you had to describe your social media career in one word only, how would you say?
Exponential. Definitely exponential. So I mean, it took forever just to get my first 1,000 subscribers, but then everything after that was just quick. Like it took years to get my first 1,000, and then a month to get to 100K. So definitely exponential,
Wow.
and it continues to be exponential. The process, like, it's never linear, never linear.
Talk about the difficulty. I mean, from getting that first 1,000 subscribers, I mean, was it a lot of genres that you were experimenting with? What did it actually take to get that first 1,000 people to hit the subscribe button?
Yeah, so for several years, it was honestly mastering the art of creating videos and making viral content. So it is interesting because you learn how to make viral content from 0 to 1,000, and then once you learn it, then everything is exponential from there. So it was definitely like figuring out the algorithm, testing a bunch of different formats or different types of hooks or different, just testing different things so something can finally take off.
You started making videos at 8 years old, which I think is remarkable. I mean, I think a lot of kids, especially from our generation, Gen Z, even Gen Alpha now, becoming a YouTuber is sort of a dream, and you kind of play around with it when you're younger, and whether it's a Minecraft YouTube channel, Roblox channel, kids are experimenting with this sort of thing. But I'm curious of what your earliest inspirations were with becoming a YouTuber. Like, was there any particular YouTuber that you saw or any videos that you saw that inspired you and you had like an aha moment? Or what kind of led you to deciding like, no, this is actually something I want to do myself?
Yeah, so growing up, I loved watching TV and movies, so I always wanted to make a movie or be on TV. So I did my first musical. Like, that's how I first got into it. I did a musical when I was in third grade. And then after I finished that, I wanted to continue pursuing entertainment. But I figured that YouTube would be the best route just because you can post as much as you want. You can write your own scripts. You can do whatever you want. The possibilities are endless, and you don't have to go through um, the hoops of Hollywood, which like I don't even know what it takes to get into that. So I was definitely inspired by YouTubers like Wasabi
Mhm.
Productions who were making their own productions, I guess you can say on YouTube.
Did you see it more so as a hobby because you enjoyed watching them, or did you know like this is like my career? Like I'm not gonna go to school and like become like a doctor and go to grad school. Like, did you know that that was like what you wanted to do for work, or was it just like this is something I really enjoy? We'll see how it pans out.
It was definitely a hobby. I wanted it to be a full-time thing, but I thought that it was impossible. Like I thought that you had to get lucky, which it's not luck. Um, until like it was honestly a hobby until I got my first paycheck from YouTube. Like, and even so, I was still like, wait, like, no way, this is real. So I think, like, from the beginning, it's always just been like a passion.
Detail that a little bit when you got the first check. Like, were you expecting it? Did you like? Because I've heard stories like YouTubers getting their first check. I know it's like official. It like has Google like on there. Like, tell me a little bit about that experience.
Yeah, so it was actually just a payment directly to my bank. I decided to do it that way instead of getting a physical check. But yeah, it it was shocking. So Because well, what I really like about getting monetized is I find oftentimes a lot of creators will say they wish that they can get monetized or as soon as possible, even though they're not getting many views, which is why they're not monetized because it doesn't make any sense for YouTube to be sending a few cents or like even $1 every month to like a bunch of creators. So when I was first monetized, it was like a I don't even remember the amount, unfortunately, but it was substantial. Like it is what the average like person would make going to a job in a month. So I was shocked. That was the first time I ever made like that type of money doing something that I really love. I was doing side hustles at the time, but it's I wouldn't necessarily say it was something that I love. So it was definitely surreal to get paid doing something that you were doing for fun.
If you don't mind me asking, what age were you like when you first got monetized?
I believe I was 16.
16. Okay. Was there any because I mean at this point you had been probably experimenting, and was it all on the same channel? Because I know you started at 8, but was it like different types of content that you had experimented with, or what was that journey like up until that point?
Yeah, so when I was a kid, I had a channel that I had a different channel. I started this channel 4 years ago, the current channel, just because I already had like 500 subscribers on the other channel, which were not the audience that I was trying to get. And um, if you're gonna have like a completely if you're gonna change your content style or niche, definitely open a new channel. You could do it on the new channel, but it or in the old channel, it just takes longer because when your new videos get sent out to those viewers, they're gonna give it bad engagement, and then it's just gonna get no views. So that's why I started a new channel like 4 years ago.
I'm curious about how your family also reacted to it, getting that first check at 16. Because when I was 16, I experimented with like, and I had always in the back of my mind I wanted to become like a YouTuber and a content creator, but I had experimented with drop shipping. I just wanted to make money
I
somehow.
tried
Like,
drop shipping so many times.
the drop shipping craze, especially at that time, was insane. Like I was on like AliExpress looking at like I was selling AirPod cases. I was doing all type of stuff. And I remember there was a bit of fear, at least on my end, of like because I wasn't old enough to like put in my social, and like there were some other like adult documents that I just hadn't gotten to yet. And I was like, dang, I gotta tell an adult
Well,
about this. I got to
I
let
used my mom's name on everything.
yeah. So I used my mom's name as well for a while. Actually, in the beginning, I don't even think I told her, which was
My
crazy.
goodness.
And then luckily for me, I didn't make a crazy amount of money, so it didn't really make much of a difference anyway. But then I started to like involve them a little more, let them know like, hey, like I'm using like your info and like I wanted to do this business and whatnot. Um, I'm curious of just like the environment that you had growing up that was helpful, I guess, for you to become like an entrepreneur and become a YouTuber. In my research for this pod, I saw that you actually come from a family of entrepreneurs. Your parents sold custom poker chips to Shaq. They did Amazon
I don't even know how
FBA.
you know about that.
I did my research. I did my research. I was
Yeah.
curious of how supportive they were of your journey. Just growing up in that environment, like were they encouraging of you being a YouTuber, or how did everything go?
Yeah, they were very encouraging. So as you mentioned that I grew up with entrepreneurial parents, so I was born into them doing Amazon FBA, which is like very like untypical for, for like someone like at least my age to say, because that means they got in really early, and they were like the first ones on eBay as well, and got like an award from the CEO for being one of the top sellers. So like when I was getting into drop shipping, they were already pretty familiar with that's how I got into like entrepreneurship. I was doing a bunch of different side hustles, but it really got serious when I did drop shipping. And they were already familiar with like kind of like what that is because they were doing Amazon FBA, which is somewhat similar in a way. Um, but yeah, they were always supportive. And when I decided that I wanted to do YouTube, they they honestly thought it was more of a hobby. They didn't think it was going to become a full-time thing. They knew I was going to figure it out in some sort of business because I was trying a bunch of different side hustles, but they didn't expect it to be YouTube, but they were still supporting me because in the beginning when I started YouTube, the whole purpose was to document my entrepreneurial journey of starting a business and making that business work. So they were for it because it was like, oh yeah, you might as well document the journey. Like that's pretty cool. We didn't expect that the actual journey would become not a business, but YouTube becoming the business. So it is really interesting.
Your first generation, right?
Yes.
How did your family feel about because you actually graduated from college? which congratulations, by the way. I'm still
Yes.
working on it. That's it's a big feat. I'm curious of how they prioritized education. Was that something more of like, I guess there was like you wanted to do it for your family? Was it something that you wanted to do for yourself? And leading into that, I'm also curious of how much your background, your college education, has actually played into your YouTube channel, and if you think it's necessary even to pursue this sort of career.
Yeah, that's a great question. So, yeah, my parents highly valued education. I mean, education is super important. Um, I mean, it's super duper important. Um, so because they didn't have the chance to go to college, since my mom she came to America when she was like 15. She still is like struggling to like speak English. So it's like, and then also like just because financials and opportunities, they didn't have the chance to go to college, so they really wanted my brother and I to go. Um, so yeah, I did it more so for them, and it 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 helped very minimally in my career, but I could have done without it because I have paid for several online courses and I'm always learning and using online resources to learn. So education's super important. Um, yeah, I mean, it depends on what you're trying to chase, what type of education you need. Like, if you want to be a doctor, you need to go to college. If you if you want to be an entrepreneur, you know, watch Alex Hormozy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely not black and white. And I didn't mean to put you on the spot there, but I was curious because I definitely think it's there's a lot of different ways you can go with it. Obviously, if there's a very specialized path you want to go on and you need college for that, you're essentially filling the requirements for your job. It makes sense to go. I'm also first generation. I'm Pakistani, and in our culture, especially, education is top priority. And I see the value of it personally, even outside of like if you're running a business or if you're pursuing to become a content creator. I think that there's a lot of social development. There's a lot of just the skills you gain from taking these adjacent courses. It's generally beneficial, right? But you also nowadays, especially in our culture, like you go on TikTok and 10 in the morning, people are telling you to drop out of college. This is my Corvette. I'm 17 years old, and like people, there's this culture of not necessarily needing education. People are starting all different sorts of businesses without it because of the opportunity of things like the creator economy and also just the internet nowadays. And so, yeah, we live in wild times. I think we're at the beginning of a generation where stuff like that is becoming a lot more popular.
Yeah, what's even crazier is people who are dropping out of high school and middle school. Like that, I
Yeah.
cannot get by. Like I will say, like I like that you mentioned the social aspect. I think that's super important. Especially or some people like decide to do homeschooling because they say that the teachers are not successful, so you're learning from people who aren't successful. But that, oh goodness, like I think, yeah, it's terrible. I definitely at least finish high school.
Yeah. Yeah, there's like a certain minimum requirement I feel like all of us should be at. Just because again, it's a lot deeper than just the education you're getting. Like you want to be able to relate to your peers.
Yeah,
I remember the first time I worked like like a full-time job, and I was working with coworkers that were my age, double my age, people that were much older than me, and I was like, after that experience, I was really able to just connect to the average American and average person much better, as opposed to being this teenager that was watching YouTube and playing video games and like hanging out with friends
totally.
all day. Yeah, it's a night and day difference, and I think it's especially actually to counter that mentality of like dropping out. If anything, having those sort of experiences of having gone to college or just having like a normal lived experience working a job or something that kind of is relatable to the average person in their experience. Those kind of experiences, socializing you get from that, being able to have small talk, that's actually going to help you in a business context. I feel like when you're in meetings and you're rubbing shoulders with executives and you're meeting people, like, soft skills like that are very important, and you don't get that from dropping out and starting a Shopify store at
Oh,
17.
100%. Yeah.
I'm curious also, being in professional spaces. I forgot to mention this to you. I'm a really big fan. I don't know if she's your lawyer or how you work with her. Tyler.
Yes, she is my lawyer.
Yeah, she is awesome. I follow her on LinkedIn. I think I joined her Discord like 2 years ago because I was pre-law. I was on the pre-law track to become a lawyer, and I saw her content, and I was like, this Hollywood lawyer is like now making videos. this is like, if I were to go down that path, like that, it would be exactly what she's done. I think I had reached out to her, and the best part about her whole story and what I really see as an inspiration for professionals in general is, she has a professional degree. You can put her in that category of doctor or lawyer, someone who has a traditional job. And she has been able to leverage the creator economy and YouTube as this like new emerging field to actually help her in her practice, not to just become like a YouTuber and do like entertainment or anything. Like, she's using it actively to help her with her business. That's something I've covered a couple times on my channel, where I've talked about PhDs and scientists and how they can like sort of leverage YouTube. I'm curious if you've seen just how you've seen YouTube, I guess, applied by professionals like Tyler or by other professionals in the space that you've interacted with.
I love this topic because I am all for that. That's initially uh, the route that I wanted to go with my channel. Because I was getting a financer, or I got my finance degree. So originally I was making content tailored around personal finance, budgeting money, and I was thinking, oh, I can leverage this degree, this expertise, and which I did for a bit until I grew a bigger passion for the art of content creation. But I think that is like one of the best things you can do. So I actually, this sounds crazy, but like my doctor, like my primary doctor makes YouTube videos. He has 500,000 subscribers.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and I think it's genius, and it's not super optimized content. It's just like it's just good information. It's a good health tips. And I think that's the best thing you can do, because now he's getting more patients, and he's doing this thing that's fun. So it's like he's doing what he's already doing and making extra money because of it. Even so, I see other creators like I love Bobby Parrish. I don't know if you know who that is, but he is a nutritionist, and he wasn't, well, he still is technically, but like now he doesn't help patients anymore. Now he just makes he has his own products, and he makes videos, and that's what he does, and he sells his health products. So it's like I think that's the best thing you could do. If you have a profession, or if you have another passion, you can double monetize.
Curious of what that's going to look like down the line. I mean, like, are we just going to have doctors, like general practitioners, like advertising on YouTube, making videos and whatnot? Like, because the creator economy, as they call it, is set to expand. I mean, I feel like we're still in the baby stages of it, despite it's having seen the amount of growth even in just the past couple of years. Do you think there will be like a normalization for professionals at some point, kind of like how you're seeing a lot more doctors, I guess, on Instagram, and they're setting up pages and personal brands? Do you think with YouTube specifically and like long form content, we'll see doctors and people that are in that professional kind of realm gravitate more towards YouTube?
Oh, for sure. I think believe it or not, there are more professionals getting into social media than just regular people who consume social media.
Interesting. It makes sense too, like you said. I mean, being able to leverage that expertise. The premise behind that is like, especially with misinformation nowadays, which I think is the appeal of a lot of these major, like Andrew Huberman being a perfect example of that. You have this
Yes.
world-renowned scientist already in his own right, doing his thing in his world, but bringing that to YouTube with his podcast, protocols, and all the tips he's releasing based on new literature, scientific literature. It doesn't get better than that, honestly. If you're anyone who's, doesn't want to have sleep issues or anxiety, or you're looking to improve your health, he has the perfect, I guess, market and like the perfect solution. I mean, he's been on Jimmy Fallon, which is crazy to think about, that he's been able to take his YouTube success and take it into traditional. I'm also curious for you, talking about traditional spaces and I guess media. Have you ever thought about ways you would want to cross over or potentially expand your YouTube business like past the platform, or do you see YouTube as the future and you kind of want to stay on YouTube?
I think the ultimate future is building a personal brand that can do well anywhere and everywhere. And if there is nowhere for people to go, they're going to find a way to find you. So yeah, I am very interested in expanding to traditional media. Transparently, YouTube is my favorite platform, so that will always be my go-to. But before I expand to there, I've actually been thinking about expanding my reach more on Instagram and TikTok, because I have 8 million subscribers on YouTube, while 100K on Instagram and TikTok, just because I don't post. So if I start posting there, it allows me to start getting different types of audiences, because there's different types of viewers that are there. the people that watch YouTube Shorts aren't really on Instagram or TikTok. So yeah, that's what I'm working towards. But definitely interested in getting into traditional media. I've been working on getting building connections and yeah.
Have you ever thought about going like, way past, like into a completely different field, like doing your first short film or like going for a movie or like your first Oscar? Anything outside of typical, I guess, content? Because content is very different from like that form of
Yeah.
storytelling. Have you ever thought about that? Because I know you said, I don't know if acting was, I guess, your passion, but it's kind of related, I guess, kind of similar to content.
Yeah, I actually have like a complete curveball. I I would love to I would love to be in a movie and be part of that world. But the way I see it, if you're gonna do anything, if you're not ready to like, I guess, die for it, if you're not ready to give it your all, just like I did with YouTube, where, I would get less sleep. I would be doing it, so early. I would start at 5 a.m. until like 12 p.m. Like if or 12 a.m. If you're not ready to give something your all, I don't think you should do it. And even though I love acting and comedy, I'm not sure it's something that I can do like just give it like I'm not sure I'm ready to give it my all because like what's in my heart is YouTube. But something that I have considered giving my all is potentially becoming like an athlete because beyond like anything that I do and for anyone I hope this is number one priority. Health is the number one thing. And I will say, making YouTube videos or editing, you are sitting at a chair forever. But like, I thought about, like, what would be one thing that, like, prioritizes health that you're able to do your entire, kind of like Brian Johnson, right? Like, how could you prioritize your health for the entire day and still monetize off of it? And it would probably be health content or being like an athlete. So, if anything, I've actually thought more about that route, simply thinking about what's something that I could do for my entire day and live and breathe it.
Even with that, that tells me that you think of YouTube as you don't plan on stopping for another 20 years, do you? Like how long, when you envision
Oh no,
YouTube,
I'm never stopping.
yeah,
No, no,
yeah.
no. There's no end. It's gonna be forever. People are gonna watch the journey. But what I would love to do, what I see the future is, I have my current channel, which I see as like the Jenny Hoyos show, but I would love to have other channels as well. I don't know if you've seen like there's creators that are doing that, like Nick DiGiovanni, his main channel is like him doing like silly things, and now he has a second channel where he has several channels, but he has like a reacting channel, but then he also has another channel where it's like very highly produced, like just recipe videos, no jokes. It's like if you actually want to learn how to cook. So you're starting to see a bunch of creators open different channels as different shows, and that's something that really excites me. That's what I want to do.
So you see it more so as building like a mass media network where
Oh
I
yeah.
guess Mr. Beast is sort of a great example of that, where he's built this entire ecosystem of he had the reaction channel going. He was doing gaming. He was doing Minecraft stuff. He has the philanthropy. He had the merch and feastables, and then all of it is kind of pouring back into the main videos. But the other channels still exist on their own merit. You kind of see it as just building this empire, Jenny Hoyos empire, and you have all these different buckets that I guess, you're pouring your energy into content wise.
Yes, 100%. That's the goal. I need to scale the team to be able to do that. But I am working on that. Yeah, I'm certain I've actually made the current channel slightly passive, I guess you can say. Like I can film 5 to 10 videos in one day just because like I've optimized the process, and I have two editors who just like work on their own. It's like this entire week, for example, I have done nothing on my channel. I have just been doing a bunch of podcasts, working on the course. Um, so like that's what I'm working on. And then after I'm done with this, because I'm launching a course, and with the money that I raise, or I guess you know what I mean, that I generate from that, I'm going to use it towards my next hire so that I can open a new channel to potentially do a new show, I guess you can say.
Tell me a bit about the team you've already built and how you view scaling. I think especially when you're starting out as a creator, when you make that first dollar, you're pretty hesitant. At least I can speak of my own experience. You're pretty hesitant to spend it unnecessarily. And so for a lot of, I guess you could call it middle class creators or people that are just starting out and they're building a name for themselves, but they don't have the biggest budget. there is this sort of hesitancy to like actually invest and pour money back into the business and spend it on, like you said, whether it's an editor or a different team to I guess to yield better results with content. Um, what was the first hire? Like, what was the first experiences you had with actually building this as a business? And how do you view that entire process?
I did terrible. Like I did terrible when I started. Now I've learned it. I have gone through I've gone through so many people. I don't think I can even remember all of them. Unfortunately.
Wow.
Like that sounds so bad. Maybe if I really thought long and hard. Yeah, it's okay. So to answer your question as far as like the fears, that was definitely a big thing for me. So I went through so many bad talent. Like it's terrible. I went through so much bad talent because I was trying to save money, which ended up making me just lose more money than just getting the right person to begin with. So after I realized that, I ended up getting someone who was good. Or and by the way, these are editors. The first thing I ever hired, or first person I ever hired was editors. Until eventually I was like, you know what? Let's just ball out. Full-time employee. We're just gonna give them a really good like Hollywood level salary. Um, and it was great. Yeah. So um the quality of the edits were like mine. And then I was like, okay, let me keep scaling. And then from there, with that same, like the same amount that I paid them, I ended up getting two more people. And then now it got to a point where it, like, I was still profitable, but I was like barely profitable. And I was like, oh no, this is not sustainable. This is not sustainable. And then, I got so stressed that I ended up just firing all of them. And it came back to me. Um, for the record, as far as the three people, like to the first hire, I forgot to give context that I gave like a full-time salary. I was at a million subscribers. I was basically solo until a million subscribers. I only started hiring until I got a million. And then when I had the three editors, that was like at around the 5 million mark. Um, but I fired everyone like at 6 million. It didn't last very long. In other words. And then from there, that's when I realized the complete opposite of what every YouTuber says, and or what Jimmy does, Mr. Beast. And I have told myself now that I am, at least I think, I'm never gonna hire an employee ever again. Like I'm never gonna do that. But I love working with freelancers and contractors who already know what they're doing. The reason why I say that is because when you hire an employee, it's a bit tricky because you have to do a lot of training, get them used to your style, how you work, and then you have the liabilities, like you have to get insurance and all these different things versus just finding the right freelancer who has the skill sets. You don't need to train them. You don't really need to do all these complicated things. You don't need to get them equipment because I had to buy the computers and stuff for the other people. So I think that is the best route, and I actually hire from different countries because I get to save a lot of money. So right now, like back then, my profit margins were like 50% or even less than 50%. But now my profit margins are nearly 100%. It's basically like 99, 95. Um, so as far as reinvesting, depending on your business strategy, depending on your content, I don't think you need to reinvest all that much. What I do reinvest into is this sounds, maybe sounds it might sound crazy to a lot of people, but what I do reinvest into is my health, wellness, um, yeah, and well-being, honestly.
Tell me a bit about that in terms of operating the business. I find it interesting how you because Mr. Beast is the opposite, where he's like, let me just throw cash at this until I make like the biggest video, and oh snap, we're in debt, and it's like it's just it's chaos. At least it's what it looks like on the outside. But you've described it after those experiences you've had. Um, I guess budget friendly is a more friendly word. You let me know if that's the
Yes,
right way to
I'm
put it.
definitely budget
Yeah.
friendly. Um, and that's because I'm leveraging my personal brand. So with Mr. Beast's business strategy, he is leveraging his production. So people are watching for his show, his production. If you took out Mr. Beast and put someone else, he would still be getting views. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's if that's how you want to do it. I mean, it depends on the business model you want to run. Like, technically, if he does it that way, like he isn't a bottleneck. Like that's not bad. The way I'm doing it, I am the bottleneck. So if you want to run that business, sure, you could do it, but I found it to be very stressful. On the other hand, the business that I'm running is one where I am the bottleneck because I'm trying to get viewers to be watching for me, not for the production. Although I will say, for the most part, they are watching for the production right now. But I am doing little things such as like live streaming, and connecting with viewers, replying to more comments, and even having a second channel that's more like raw and natural. So then that way I can leverage the personal brand. Now, how are the profit margins higher? It's basically the same thing how like what is it? Like an actor would get paid millions just to have a picture of them holding a perfume bottle, right? Like the profit margins are insane. You don't have to spend that much money to do that. And that's what I'm trying to do because it takes longer, but it's going to be longer term, like more sustainable as far as like saving money.
Would you argue that staying lean as a creator and having, I guess, the smallest team possible is it increases your odds of longevity? Like it's a better strategy to go, or more so a strategy like Mr. Beast? Because I definitely think there's pros and cons to both. I agree with you. I'm in the camp of keeping things as minimal as possible and trying to maximize that so that you can have more breathing room to scale if you want to, or if you want to just have some sanity and not have to worry about, like you said, workers insurance and all these different things with a proper team. Do you think that's the better route for most creators, or is it really just a matter of preference?
I think it's a matter of preference. A lot of creators, um, they don't want to be the bottleneck, or they don't. It depends on your stress levels. Because for me, I get stressed when I see a bunch of money coming out, just because that's the nature of me. I've always been scared of spending money. But if someone has a good like stress tolerance for that, then it could be a pretty good route because it frees up more time for you.
Tell me a little bit about the business ecosystem you've already created outside of the videos. You mentioned earlier how you have a course. I've also looked on your website and I see you also do creator consulting one-on-one. And so thinking in the long run outside of actually producing videos and eventually building that Jenny Hoyos empire, which I'm very much looking forward to. I expect in the next 10 years you're going to be one of the biggest creators on the platform. I truly do.
Thank you.
Outside of the videos itself, the business and the stuff around it to support, whether it's financial support or I guess whatever are the main motivations for it, to invest back in the content. How did you first think about potentially starting a consulting business? What was the motivation behind it? Just your thought process about doing things adjacent to content but are still kind of in that empire.
Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, for the most part, like the biggest income stream is content because that's where I spend most of my time, working on that. And I basically don't touch that money at all. I just, I just, I just invest it. I don't even reinvest it. No, I just invest it like personally, honestly. Because I like to stay lean. Rather, what I do use towards investing into the channel, this might sound weird and very unconventional, but um, yeah, I do use the other sources like helping other creators to allow me to reinvest into the channel. So money comes in for the channel, I put it into an investment account, and then money comes in from the consulting, I put that into the checking account for me to use towards supplies or whatever things that I'm producing. Since the consulting is significantly less than like just the rest of the business as a whole, and it just allows me to feel a lot safer. It's almost like it's kind of like saying using your like if someone has a job, they use their money for their bills and then they do a side hustle and they use that money towards the movies and their fun and stuff. I kind of do it like that. But yeah, so as far as like that what I'm doing on the side is I love helping creators. It can be exhausting to like come up with creative ideas for your own channel, or like when you're struggling to like figure out an answer for something. Sometimes helping others makes you actually figure out the answer for yourself. So it's so funny because I'll be on consulting calls and people will ask me like sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes someone will ask me a question or something that they're going through and I'm going through it as well. So one time someone asked me like, I'm struggling to find any good editors. Like, do you have any good tips? And I'm thinking in my head, yeah, I'm in the same boat. I'm struggling to find good editors too. Um, until like, but when I'm in the call, I have to give them an answer. I can't say I don't know. Like, I have to give them something because they're, um, and then I gave the person an amazing answer, and that's when I realized, like, oh my goodness, I need to do the same thing. And then I did that exact same thing, and then I never had issues finding a good editor ever again. So it does open up, like, it does teach me a lot. So I love doing that, and it complements like what I already love, what I know, and what I'm doing. But yeah, to answer like what I'm doing as far as there, um, it's basically helping creators. So I have a beginner, intermediate, and advanced option. What I recommend, even if someone isn't a beginner, I recommend someone to go through the steps in order, just so you don't miss out on any information. But yeah, in April 7th, I'm launching a 7-day program, a group program where I go through and help creators with ideation, scripting, filming, the entire process every day for 7 days and have a group call at the end to review their videos for like $99. So it's a really good deal.
Wow, that's a
Yeah,
steal, dude. Are you sure?
I am
I know you
sure.
just said it, but yeah,
I'm sure it's $99 and 7 days with me, and I'll give feedback throughout the entire process.
that's awesome. That's a steal. I'm gonna put the if there's links for that, whatever, that'll be in the description for people to check out. Um, I'm curious because I you mentioning that of how you've experienced those conversations working with other creators like through your consulting. You've had other conversations with creators, and that's kind of been able to ease the tension. For me, the best part of having like my first, I guess, viral video or having other creators reach out to me as a result of just making content, the best part of it for me was just knowing that people were dealing with the same issues that I was. Because I think content can be a very isolating sort of career path, especially if you're not starting with like a group and you're just kind of trying to figure things out. It's a very weird, unique set of problems that we have of like, how do I come up with an idea or like this doesn't sound right? And like, there's not really, you can't really go to your friends as much about it because they're not going to know the details of it. There's like this understand shared collective trauma almost of creators of like how like these very unique struggles. I'm curious of with any creators you know, creator friends that you have, how often you guys like bounce ideas off of each other, and if other creators that you've even if you haven't worked with them, just people that you know as a result of being in the industry. If that's eased the tension a bit, knowing that there's people that have experienced the same issues and they kind of can offer solutions through their own experiences.
When I first started, that was everything. Bouncing ideas, and whenever I learned something, we would learn just twice as fast because I had one friend who I learned something, I'd tell him, he learned something, he'd tell me, and it just made sure that we grow as fast as possible. And we know it was actually working successful considering we both hit, we started at the same, like around the same time, same point, and we both hit 100,000 subscribers within 24 hours. And we're making different content, by the way. So the information that we were sharing was like proven it was actually working. So it was super important. But I will say it does change as you grow because I do speak with many creators, but the creators that tend to have the same problems that I do are very busy. So we can only talk a small handful of times. So now the people that I primarily talk to about this and what you'll find like as you grow is your own team. And for me, like my biggest support team are my parents since they're involved in all the videos. So even though if it looks like it's just me in the video, my dad's behind the camera and my mom's looking at the script or the outline. So yeah, we talk about all the different things and brainstorm problems and solutions.
You mentioned this on another podcast. Correct me if I'm wrong. You hired your parents, I guess, like as official like employees or not employees, but like they work on your business as the main thing, right?
Yes. Yes, basically. They still do their stuff on the side, or they still do their own investments. But yeah, for the most part, yeah, they work on this business because this is yeah, this business just is just crushing it. I don't know.
No, that's great. That's I'm just it's that must be awesome. Like I'm just trying to think about like if I hired like my own parents of like what that dynamic would be. Of course, family businesses exist and whatnot, but with a creator business, it's very different. I'm curious, are they more like on the operating side, or are they actually helping you? Because your mom is actually involved, like she's in a lot of the storylines for your content. Um, she's almost like a part of like the videos as like a cast member, if you will. And so I'm curious, is it more like in actual storytelling and production? Is it more business side? Like how is their involvement?
Yeah, so primarily it's in production. So that is like, working on the set, building props, or even if I need like, oh my goodness, like the other day they just bought 15 watermelons, like trying to find that. Like, so their role primarily is in that aspect. However, they do help like whenever I do have like business questions or like because they've had employees in the past and they've gone through a lot of the same problems, so they help me navigate those issues.
I'm curious about how you plan on scaling the business. We talked about it a little bit before of you're building like a media empire and you have like whether it's production and whatnot, like all of your video, you actually mentioned this as well. You're able to batch record a lot of your videos in the same day. Um, is that something that you were able to refine over? Because I'm sure the first couple of videos, or even maybe just a year ago, you probably did not have it as down pat as you do now. Um, Tell me a bit about that and like really crunching the numbers, optimizing every minute, and making the most of your time so that you can produce videos in that high quality and high quality at the same time.
Yeah, so when I first started, it would take me like to film one short. It would take the entire day, sometimes several days. But now, as you mentioned, like I can do like five, and I still have like so much energy. Like five is easy. Five is like, oh, that was a normal work day. Like no joke. And for one, that came down to like when my parents got on board and they started helping, it went from one short to two to three a day. So that helped a ton. But then even so, doubling it even more on top of that came down to me just perfecting pre-production because I heard this Alex Hormozy quote, but everyone says this, but it was an ounce of pre equals a pound of post. And it applies to production as well. So as much as you do in the pre-production phase, it makes production super easy. So I try to get all the if I can pre-script the entire thing, I'll pre-script it. If I can't, I try to get as many like I try to write down all the different possibilities of things that can happen, what I can do, what I should do. Um so yeah, I would say getting other people to help helps doubles it, but then mastering pre-production doubles it even more.
That's one thing with the storytelling people don't get is majority of the time as a creator, I'm in my notes app, just typing away,
Yeah.
typing and like rehearsing, researching. The actual filming is like a couple minutes, like at least for the kind of content I do. And so it's a very underlooked part of the process. I'm curious, like when you were younger, even before you had scaled and like it had become a business, like what did you imagine? I guess like what was your biggest misconception about like what becoming a YouTuber in full fledged the way you're doing it now? What that day to day would be like? What was something that you weren't expecting?
Of like what the life of a YouTuber would be?
Yeah, just the day to day of producing videos and whatnot.
Yes. I there were a lot of things, honestly. Um, for one, I didn't expect there to be as many meetings or corporate things that I'd have to do. Like the amount of meetings that I do with like brands or um like potential hires or opportunities or speaking engagements, like I didn't expect it to be very like operational heavy. Um, that was one thing. But another thing is, I guess I always knew this, but sometimes I forget that by posting videos online, these are real people watching your videos, and when you go out in public, people are actually gonna recognize you. And that is I didn't think about that. I didn't realize that for some reason.
It's a trip. I have around 30,000 followers at the time of recording this. Um, I've had DMs from people like random family weddings I went to months prior. I look at my TikTok DMs and people are like, "Hey, like, were you the?" And I'm like, "Dude, that is terrifying. That like, I make TikToks. Like, what is going on?" I can imagine at the scale of 8 million plus YouTube subscribers, it's probably
Like
completely different. Yeah.
I love meeting fans. It's so much fun whenever I meet
Yes.
fans. There have just been a few times where like I've been caught off guard when I just get like mobbed, which has only been 3 times to be fair, which is like, wait, what's going on? Like I'm not even a celebrity, guys.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to like go all on top of me. And then I got sick. I remember I got sick the next day. Because it was a bunch of kids just like on top of me.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a trip because I think, there's a lot of times as a creator, you can get into this mentality of like you see the numbers and like it's like it almost feels like a video game to an extent where it's like your analytics and you're like, okay, this is the revenue, this is the viewership and whatnot, and then you have to remind yourself. Even after one thing that's helped me a lot when a video flops, is remembering it's not a flop. A couple hundred people just saw me present this information. I don't even know if I could go in front of that amount of people in real life and do this. So
Yeah, it's crazy.
it's completely different. I think about just the scale, even of having a video that gets a million views, and like I tried to conceptualize it of like, what is this relative to the U.S. population? Like this is crazy. You know what I
It
mean?
is
Like the
insane.
viewership. Yeah, it's one of those experiences. And you mentioned the word celebrity also. I'm curious of how you, I guess, even view YouTube celebrity status as opposed to like Hollywood celebrity status. Like, do you think that's because the scale is obviously it's there. I don't know how much you care about, I guess, being famous and the that aspect of it, but um, has that come up like in business conversations, like the fact that you're like a very well-known public figure? Like how have you gone about navigating that? Is that something you enjoy? Is it something that benefits you? How do you view all of this public attention aside from the actual love for making the videos?
Yeah, well, it is tricky. Like the well, it's something that you try to leverage as much as possible. Like whenever I'm doing like a brand meetings, like I have nearly 10 million subscribers, which is like the population of New York City, so it's like that's like crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess like similar to what I was mentioning before about like forgetting that like people can recognize you. The issue isn't people recognize me in a public place and there's security and there's other people. The issue is when people are showing up to my house and then it's like, oh, I don't know about this. This feels uncomfortable. Like and people who go crazy to that crazy enough to that extent to make me feel uncomfortable. But you try to leverage it in where you can as much as possible.
Yeah, it's definitely something I think like I have a couple of videos that are more, I guess, evergreen, and so like I think even one of my first big videos in the format that I do, which is I guess face to the camera storytelling. I have different images in the background on TikTok. Um, till this day, like I still get comments on like a video I did almost a year ago, which is basically when I started, and it's like I cringe already. I cringe so much at that video or those videos because it was like my first few. But just kind of knowing this like idea of digital footprint also of like wow, like this is a while back, but to this person who just viewed it, they probably just think that's me right now, or the viewpoint in the video and all of that. There's a lot of nuance that's I guess sort of lost, and so you have to be pretty mindful of like what you're posting and I guess
Yes,
how people are
very.
going to perceive you, for sure. Yeah. I'm also curious about like the because you've been making videos since you were 8. You've probably tried a bunch of different storytelling formats. You've tried a different storytelling formats, different types of videos altogether. Talk a little bit about actually obsessing and realizing of like I need to make every single part of this video. Like everything is going to be optimized. When did it click that like it was a science and that making content was more so a skill set as opposed to something you just kind of turn on the camera and just start filming?
Yeah, so I didn't realize that every second mattered until I just started tweaking little things. So originally it started with, oh, the idea is the only thing that matters. And then the views were slightly getting more views. The videos were getting slightly more views, and I was like, okay, maybe it's like the hooks. Maybe it's just the hooks that matters, like the first 3 seconds. And then you start tweaking that, and then it's like, oh wow, the videos are starting to get more views. Okay, what if it's the thing after the hook? Whatever you say after the hook, let's try that, and it just slowly um becomes more and more until you realize like the more elements that you can incorporate into your video, the more likely it is to go viral.
when thinking about the niche that you chose, did you always think about it in terms of I wanted to reach the most amount of people? So you might have, I guess, pivoted out of finance and crypto content because a lot of the when I think of Jenny Hoyos and the brand of it, I think of also creators like Ryan Trahan, Mr. Beast, Eric, a lot of different creators that are in this sort of challenge genre. And when I think of that genre, I also think of mass viewership appeal. This isn't just like a very niche subject. You could show this video to anyone across the world, um, and it would be relevant. It's a video people can enjoy. Did you kind of have that in mind as well strategically, or was it just a genuine love for that specific type of format?
It was a love for that format, to be honest. So I had a like as I did YouTube more and more, I started growing a bigger passion for storytelling and comedy. So the content just slowly turned into what it is today, honestly. And um, it just so happens to be the type of content that gets um as many views as like gets a ton of views. So because of that, I might as well just try to get as many views as possible. But right now I'm trying to do a combination of different videos where I'll make a video that's geared or that's developed what's the word? Sometimes I'll okay, so some videos I'll make them with the goal to get as many views as possible, but there are other videos that the goal is to build my personal brand by showing more about who I am. Um, and from there you can get more brand deals as well because brands get to see like what you're actually like and what you actually stand for, and you could probably resonate well with their product. Um, so it's interesting. There's a lot of videos that like technically didn't get an insane amount of views, but ended up making me more money in the long run.
Wow, because of the brand deals associated with it, or just in the long run, the revenue kind of stacked up over time.
Yeah, because of the opportunities, the brand partnerships or speaking engagements or different things that came along with it. Like, for example, even though okay, 5 million views is a lot, but I have videos that have 100 million views and they didn't get any brand's
Yeah.
attention. So I have, for context, yeah, I have a video that has 100 million views. Not a single brand has mentioned to me that they like that video. But I have a video that has 5 million views that a brand reached out to me and said that they resonated with it so much and they were touched by it and that they started their company because they were experiencing the same issues that I'm saying that in this video. And then they offered me a partnership and now we have a long-term relationship. And it's like that was worth see that was worth it.
That's so fascinating because I've experienced the same thing with my own videos. One of my biggest videos was about VAT-19. OG, like I guess you could say, not drop shipping because I think they had a lot of the products in-house, but they were some of the biggest, like one of the first businesses to really leverage YouTube and to make content, make viral videos around the products they were selling. Quirky products online, the world's largest gummy bear, water guns, that sort of stuff. And I made this video about them. They reached out. My most viewed video, funny enough, I actually, and this is another crazy part about you can never predict anything, I feel like, in this industry. I almost deleted my best video halfway through because I just thought it was so bad. I was like, I do
No.
not, I was like, I was recording it. I did like 20 takes for the first couple of lines. I was like, dude, like, maybe this idea isn't it. I ended up sticking it out. I think it did like 1 million the first day, and then it kept going from
Wow.
there. It was crazy. They reached out. It was a whole thing. But even that video, they reached out to me. It was one of my first major videos as well. But I've also had other videos in different metrics. A video because that video had, I think right now it's at 8 million views, and it's slowly gone up over time. But I've had other videos that maybe peaked at 2 million, but the amount of followers I gained was like 10x the VAT-19 video, or a video with
Yep.
1 million that had way more comments and shares, triple my maximum share count on another video that might have had more views. The impact of each video is not linear at all. It's really about the substance. I've learned the actual content of the video, how much it's impacting the actual people that are watching it. One of my biggest videos, one of my favorite videos, which I've done videos that have had more views, and I've pinned them to my TikTok because TikTok allows you to
Hmm.
pin your top three. The way I view this video about Zevi, Zevi Universe, who's one of my favorite up and coming YouTubers. He's been on TikTok killing it, arguably my favorite storyteller of all time right now on the
Oh,
platform.
I gotta check him out.
He's great. You definitely got to check his stuff out. And funny enough, on the business side of it, I'm actually working on a long form video breaking it down a bit of how he's been able to leverage just existing short form content and use it in the long form YouTube algorithm and build basically just by repurposing his shorts to create this long form ecosystem. It's usually the other way around with like clips and whatnot. Um, Point being, I bring that up to
That is
say,
really interesting.
yeah, I'll send you some info about it. Like
Oh, this
I,
I know this guy. I just searched him up. Yeah, this guy's videos is
yeah,
they're great. I love his energy.
he's so goated. His storytelling, the way he's able to break everything down.
Oh no, his
Um,
storytelling is so good. Like I don't know,
yeah,
I can sit there like his videos are long too, like they're or like three up to 3 minutes. But yeah, I sit there and I didn't even realize I was there that long.
I bring him up because I was on TikTok one day. I vividly remember this because I was doing my own, I guess, like style. Like I was editing videos and like doing commentary. I had like a mic, I had like my Blue Yeti and like I had this whole setup. And I got to a point where I was like, dude, I'm spending way too much time editing this TikTok for it to like not get as many views as I would like it to get, or not impact the amount of people that I would like to. And so I'm watching Zevi one day, and I was like, let me try that. And I straight up like, there's no other way to put it than like I copied him to a T. I stole every aspect of his videos and was like, let me just do my version of this. I'm gonna take his talking style, and I'm gonna do it in my own way. I did that a couple of times. Eventually, random out of nowhere, 3.7 million views. And I was like, what?
Oh, so this format works.
I was like, what just happened, right? And but with that came a dilemma because I was actually getting a lot of comments too of like, dude, you're not Zevi, you're not this and that. And part of me also creatively, it felt a little disingenuous knowing that I was like impersonating a lot of it. I was definitely inspired by his content and just the way he was doing storytelling in general. But the way I've been able to find my voice has been to take creators like Zevi, film, I guess, in that format and reverse engineer what works. But the first way for me to learn actually the anatomy of a viral video, you can see my whiteboard a little bit. I have my, at least the notes that I use on a daily basis to film. I have like a 6 part, I guess, framework or formula that I use for every video. The way I was able to get to that conclusion that has helped me with every short that I film or every TikTok was from basically copying other creators, understanding what worked, and then finding my own voice and interweaving the two.
Yes.
Eventually, now I'm at a place now where personally I feel like I have my own voice, and it's like it's me. It's not necessarily like you'll see if you've seen these other creators, you'll see hints of other influences, but ultimately it's a voice I've been able to find. My question with all of that is, are there any YouTubers you've kind of studied in the same way and you've thought, oh, I'm taking that for sure. Let me incorporate that into my style and try to make this my own thing.
Yeah, many. I took a lot of inspiration from Ryan Trahan when I first started, because I love that he incorporated his personality and the storytelling was great in his content, but it wasn't fully optimized. So I decided to take inspiration from Mr. Beast, which was the complete opposite. It was optimized, but it didn't have good, good storytelling in the shorts, or personality. So I pretty much blended those two, but then also took inspiration from a bunch of other creators for in specifically individual videos. So like if I see, for example, like let's just say I don't know if I've ever taken anything from Nick DiGiovanni, but let's just say hypothetically, like I like that he did a knife drop in the hook. Maybe I can think about it in a similar vein where I do like I put a sword through something. Like I'm just brainstorming out loud. But yeah, so those are the two creators that I studied. But I'm always like for individual videos when I'm trying to figure out what's the best way to go about it. I look at a bunch of different creators and like to combine a bunch of different factors and things that are working for them. Um, but more than anything, I've been studying more traditional media, and thinking about the things that I loved watching growing up and thinking about what things I can incorporate into the content.
What about traditional media and those storytelling tactics stands out as something like why study that as opposed to just studying other big YouTubers?
Yeah, so studying YouTubers is great, but oftentimes a lot of people copy them as well. So
Exhibit
it
A.
just well, there's people who do like Mr. Beastification, like where
Yeah.
they just and now there's like the Ryan Trahanification, where people are just like completely ripping off the styles, and all the content just feels the same. Versus no one, at least yet, has really been leveraging traditional media to that extent. So looking at that has been very helpful. Or even like getting ideas more than anything. It's very good for like bits. Like, oh, they did this in the show and people found this joke really funny. Like, let's try that.
I definitely think there's a fine line with inspiration and straight up stealing content. Like I used the word, just a moment ago, I talked about how I stole Zevi's format. Funny enough, he actually saw the video that I did of him. He reached out and he told me, I mean, he enjoyed it. He said, "Great job on the video." And I was like, that's the best compliment I could have received, knowing that like I took inspiration from this person and they didn't really see it as like a copy necessarily. It was more like I saw what you did, I see where the influence came from, but you were able to turn this into your own piece.
No, that's
Um,
awesome.
I think there's a big difference between that and some videos where it's literally the same thumbnail as Mr. Beast, but it's just their face on it. Like
Yeah, for
it's a
sure.
yeah. I've even seen people like there was a Ryan Tran video. I think I saw this on Colin and Samir's channel. Um, there's like literally like the script
Oh
like
my
from
goodness,
top
that
to
was
bottom.
crazy. Someone did that to that same guy did that to a bunch of my videos too. That guy's whole channel is just yeah. And it works. And what hurts the most is when people who have more subscribers and get more views who are doing that. Because that guy has like what like I think he has at least 20 million. It's unfortunate. Like
Oh
that's
my
that
God, that's crazy.
yeah.
Yeah, wow, 20 million. And that's the thing, like you said, if the content works, like even in my case, where early on I was copying a lot of stuff. Like there's certain stuff that just works. So if you, especially if you're pulling from different places, you can kind of camouflage it as like, a bunch of original ideas when really it's like the best work from like this YouTuber and this person. That's crazy. 20, man. There's so many different ways to do it too. That's like even with clips. I think clips now is like it's become like a culture almost. I mean, there's people
Oh
dropping
yeah,
entire
that's
courses.
totally fine. I don't
Yeah.
I yeah. Um
That's yeah. So talk a little bit about that actually of because I've heard some YouTubers I think clips are great in terms of I guess like even for the person that's because some people view it as a way of being harmed or it's like copyright and whatnot. I view it as the best advertising campaign in the world possibly to have someone clip your
well, I want
podcast
people to
videos.
create clips. Like yeah, no, that's the dream. Like I mean, I would pay people to make clips.
Yeah.
No, seriously, if anyone wants to create clips, create clips. As long as they're not reposting the whole short.
I want to ask one last question if that's fine. If you could go back and give 8-year-old Jenny one piece of advice or any kid who's in your shoes, what would it be?
Keep creating. It if you love it, keep doing it, and it's gonna work eventually. It might take a long time. I mean, I started when I was 8, and like I didn't even get monetized until I was 16. So it's it's a time game, and it's not luck. You want to increase your chances of luck by posting as many videos as possible because eventually one of them is going to resonate with a bunch of people. It's going to be funny or people are going to go crazy over it and it's going to take off. Keep creating, increase your chances of luck by posting a lot.
Thank you so much for your time, Jenny, and I really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, this is great. Thank you all so much. And